One of the most amazing fights just happened. Holy shit.
That was crazy. Conor just knocked the piss out of Cowboy Cerrone with something nobody called. 0 people said Conor McGregor.
Not us.
We
Not
did.
us.
We said if there was a head kick knockout in the first round, it was gonna be Cowboy Cerrone. We did talk about the open engagement and stuff like that when we broke down the fight.
You don't care about that shit. We're here to break down how the knockout happened and why Cowboy did not take a dive.
But before that, guys, smash that like button harder than Conor's foot. Smash consciousness from Cowboy Cerrone's body. We talked about the open engagement a little bit in our breakdown of the fight, right? We talked about it from Conor's perspective, how it opens up the left for him to throw, and we talked about how for Cowboy it opened up the roundhouse kick. But we never mentioned the fact that the main combination for a southpaw kickboxer, or the main setup, the main meta strategy that they'll use, is that the left straight also sets up the left roundhouse kick.
So if you guys notice, both have the same action with the hips.
So when you're gonna throw the left straight, you have to turn your hip and extend. The left kick, hip, extend, right? Conor beautifully took advantage of this combination. See, I did not see a feint. I was arguing for a while. Conor did not throw a feint, but
He did in fact throw a feint.
it was a very subtle feint, and it only worked, I think, because Conor has a reputation for the left hand, because Cowboy Cerrone's team
Was scouting for the left hand.
They made the worst mistake in MMA, my friends. They said Conor only has a left hand. We know they were chirping a little bit, but this still shows that the attention
was on the left hand.
Was on the left.
If you notice, I'm going to be an orthodox. Conor was doing the classic thing that he always does. He always has his hands out, trying to hand fight and stuff like that. But you notice when he was about to throw that left kick, he chambered and closed his left hand in a fist.
It was a very subtle feint. You caught it. I didn't even catch it. We had to watch it 2 or 3 times. But he just barely lowered it and then threw the kick.
But veterans like Cowboy will notice little details like that and act accordingly, which Cowboy did.
So when Conor chambered the left, what did Cowboy do?
He tried to parry the left hand.
Which would have looked like this. If Conor had actually thrown the left, he would have gone right here, and Cowboy would have effectively parried it. The problem is when Cerrone opened to parry like that, he was still actually defensively sound. This is what I think a lot of people miss. This was not actually a bad mistake by Cowboy. The problem is if you're in that position and Conor had thrown a kick like most MMA fighters and like Cowboy himself would have
Which is in
thrown.
the Muay Thai roundhouse kick style.
When people talk about swinging the baseball bat, right? The leg is not bent. You swing it, boom. It's a Muay Thai style baseball kick swing, right?
Yep.
If Conor had done that kind of kick and Cowboy's in the position, it's just bop right on his guard. The kick that Cowboy threw, that's how Conor, it just bounced. The elbow takes it or it deflects it up and over your head. The problem is Conor kicked in a more, whatever you want to call it, karate, traditional martial arts, taekwondo style, where the leg was bent and chambered.
So it chambers like this, and then all of a sudden it explodes out with the snap.
It's more of a snap here, extend. And that changes the angle very subtly, but just enough to get over the parry, because it goes about here and across. It's incredibly hard to even demonstrate this technique. It's so precision pinpoint. It's basically like if Cowboy had a single chink in his armor and Conor was able to just go on that exact spot with the top of his foot. So he came over the top of his block, the top of his foot connected with Cowboy's chin, and that's all she wrote. This was not Cowboy taking a dive.
It was absolutely not. And so I can understand how you can make an argument, when they were in their first engagement where Conor basically threw that fucking baseball up to Mars.
Conor basically threw his ass across the cage.
Yeah, he did. Yeah! And he basically was on top of Cowboy. So I hear a lot of people saying, well, Cowboy should have just taken him down.
Yeah, he clearly dove because he didn't even commit to the takedown. He just gave up on it, blah, blah.
But here's the thing, it wasn't a fucking takedown.
So we, in our pre-fight analysis, and actually Conor McGregor's team, both made the same read on a specific behavior pattern that Cowboy exhibits when he sees a left cross coming.
It doesn't matter if it's a rear hand coming from orthodox. It doesn't matter if it's a rear hand coming from southpaw. Cowboy Cerrone always does one thing, and it's to bend at the waist.
I knew Donald, and I know Donald's good at dipping under the left hand, and I knew he would attempt to dip under the left hand.
Every time he bends at the waist. What the interesting thing about that is maybe Conor was like, maybe he's changed his ways, maybe he doesn't do that anymore. When he threw himself at Cowboy, he basically scouted for that same movement.
And Cowboy showed it exactly. It was not a takedown, it was a duck. If you look how Cerrone ducked, his weight was on his back leg and he was literally full on.
He was full on like this.
He could have practically licked his toes almost. Like,
and the thing is that if you guys have ever wrestled and stuff like that,
you can shoot like you are right now. The problem is Cerrone was bit.
Oh,
like
that's
he
right,
was
yeah.
completely folded. Like the only direction Cerrone maybe could have shot was that way.
Yep.
It was here.
And Conor's weight is on Cowboy. Cowboy's trying to scramble for some kind of single leg, which you can see when they were in the slow motion.
He's
trying
scrambling
to
with
find
his arms.
for something, but at that point, it was too late.
Because his reaction wasn't to shoot a takedown. His reaction was to duck, and then he tried to scramble a takedown, but his hips were facing the wrong direction. And Conor did do a great job when they were in that position. He came and he overhooked Cowboy's arm, and this is where you actually saw he grabbed Cowboy's shorts. So Cowboy's arm actually was stuck here, and he did a really good job of catching it. So then Cowboy couldn't get the arm, and Conor got bicep control and head control right here. So Cerrone could not
Take a single leg.
He couldn't take a single leg. He couldn't take advantage of the clinch. It was not a dive.
It was not a dive.
It was not a dive. And it discredits Cowboy, who honestly did not do very much wrong in this fight.
No, there was
almost nothing.
He actually almost like corrected almost all the stuff that we were knocking about him before the fight. So Conor did an amazing job. Cowboy did an amazing job. If you guys will give us a like, subscribe, help us out with the channel if you enjoyed the content, and we love you guys. Take care.
And we're gonna show you that damn sexy shoulder strikes and how Conor did it and why he's just about the only guy who could even hit them in the UFC, including John Jones.
Ooh.